Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So this is a follow-on or part 2 from 3 ways to get a better tone. And the first video I was talking about playing flat versus tilted bow, so mainly playing with a flat bow. Then I was talking about playing in the middle, so where you're playing, where not to play, that kind of thing, because that's all going to affect the tone, and also vibrato as well. So vibrato will give you a nice kind of sweet tone. So I'm going to give you 3 more ways of increasing or getting a better tone at the violin, kind of in no particular order. But first of all, so before I go into the video, I just wanted to talk to you all and let you all know that I have a 1 to 30 violin course, which is these books actually behind me. Now, my course is 100% downloadable. They're not physical books. These are books that I just printed out myself at home. But the course is available to download, and it takes you through 30 videos. So the first 10 videos, or the first 10 lessons 1 to 10, are completely free. So all the resources, any downloadable PDFs, all that kind of thing are always free, and they're always linked underneath the videos. But my 1 to 30 course will take you from a complete beginner violinist, so you know absolutely nothing about the violin at all. It will take you from being a complete beginner violinist to a very accomplished intermediate violin player. And my course is 100% guaranteed. And I know that's a bit of a bold statement to make, but I absolutely stand by my course. I'm a classically trained violinist, so I teach more in that way. And all of these books will teach you everything you need to know. So the first 10 lessons, as I said, are absolutely free. Then you would move on to Songbook 1, and that is the start of the book series that we've got. Songbook 1 is 10 pieces that are arranged by myself to be at the exact same level as what you would have learned through lessons 1 to 10. Then you would move on to lessons 11, 21 with book 2, which is this one here. And in this book, you'll be going through lots of technical exercises, scales, arpeggios, learning a little bit more about the violin, just kind of filling in the gaps in knowledge from lessons 1 to 10. So book 2 just answers a lot more questions and covers a lot more technical work. Once you've got to lesson 20, you'll then go to Songbook 2. Songbook 2 is 10 more pieces that have been arranged at the same level as lessons 1 to 10 and now 11 to 20, so kind of book 1 and then covering book 2 as well. Once you've done that, you'll move on to book 3, which is a lot more technical stuff, so you're going into a higher position on the violin, you're learning a lot more of the complicated stuff, so a lot more bowing techniques, just kind of adding in the sort of more final touches to really finesse the playing at that point. And then after you've got to lesson 30, there is a songbook, which is this one here, with 10 pieces, 10 violin pieces that have been arranged by myself that are at the level of everything that we will have done so far. Once you finish the course, that will leave you at an accomplished intermediate player. So that course is available to be downloaded, purchased and downloaded from my online shop, and I'll put a link to that coming up underneath. And then secondly, I wanted to tell you all about Patreon. I know a lot of you don't even know I have a Patreon site. Now, I've got a Patreon page where those of you, if you don't know what Patreon is, basically you just pledge on a monthly basis. Depending on how much you pledge will depend on what kind of benefits you get. So you pledge monthly, you get access to those benefits. You can cancel your pledge at any time. There's no kind of catches with it. It's completely up to you. But if you are just the first level tier and you're pledging on the first level, you will get access to hundreds, and I mean hundreds of sheets of music. I think last I checked, we're probably looking at around about I think nearly 800 sheets of music that have been arranged, violin sheets of music. There's some piano in there as well, actually. There's a good couple hundred piano pieces, but these are all pieces, violin pieces that I have arranged over pretty much my entire career of being on YouTube, which is since 2011. So yeah, next year we're coming up to 10 years. So it's a culmination of all the pieces that I've ever arranged that you will have access to on Patreon for just a few dollars a month. And like I say, it's up to you if you want to, how many months you want to pledge at a time. But there's no other platform, there's no other place online that you can go to that you can get access to that much specifically arranged sheet music. So I'll put the links to my book course behind me and the Patreon underneath. So getting on with the video. So following on from the first part of this video, making sure that your fingers are fully depressed on the violin. So some people will comment underneath my videos and sort of ask how hard you need to press on the string. So you don't actually need to press that hard, and for most people this is kind of something that's just common sense. It just makes sense. You'll just know how hard to press on the strings. But it's not necessarily about how hard to press, but where your fingers are and how you're pressing them down. So what you want to make sure is that you need to obviously have really, really short nails. That kind of goes without saying. So if you do have long nails, you're not going to be able to, well, you're not going to be able to play the violin anyway. So mine are always kept really, really short as they'll go. And you really want to be playing on the kind of the very tippy tip almost to sort of top part of the fingers. So when you've got your finger on the string, you want to make sure that your finger is fully on the string. So kind of the whole pad, top part pad of your finger is fully depressed. So you don't want to be playing on the side of your fingers or just sort of slightly catching the string. Nothing like that. The fingers need to be right in the middle of the strings. So can you see like I've done there? So it kind of seems sort of a bit of an easy sort of thing to say, a bit of a blatantly obvious thing to say, but it isn't always, and some people do sort of play with different parts of their fingers and things. So not playing with the full finger on the string and only kind of half of it sort of on. If you've only got half of your, the very tip of your finger sort of on the string, then you're not going to get quite a nice full sound. Finger's going to potentially slip and things like that. So making sure that the whole kind of top pad of your finger is fully on the strings where it needs to be, and that's going to help you with the full tone. So most people sort of think that the tone comes from the bow, and yeah, 95% of the time you're right, because nothing makes sound on the violin. Obviously these do, but they're not. That isn't really what creates the actual real sound of the violin. What creates sound on the violin is the bow. So people think that the tone is all in the bow. Most of the tone is in the bow, yes, but not all of the tone is in the bow. It's almost like you're just giving it a helping hand. You're just kind of lifting it up a bit. So there's no point in playing vibrato and, playing flat bows and playing all in the right part of the bow when really your fingers are giving the bow a hard time because they're sort of tipping over the edge and not really kind of fully depressing the string. So yes, it does come from the bow most of the time, but the fingers are often overlooked in tone as well. So make sure that if you're doing everything right with the bow and that all seems fine there and you're doing everything that I've said and the tone still isn't very good, why don't you just have a sneaky little check out to see what those pesky fingers are doing to make sure that they are fully depressed and that they are in the right place on the string. Okay, so the second way to get a good tone on the violin as well is going to be doing nice full long bows. So many people, especially beginners, don't use a full enough bow. I don't know why, perhaps they're just scared of the noise, as in not scared of the noise, but just scared of kind of creating a sound, especially if they're not confident of that sound. But ironically, that the smaller the bows you play, the more kind of the less progressive and the more inward the playing is, and the worse it is. My students, when they got a bit nervous with pieces or just wasn't really feeling it or didn't feel that they were confident enough or very good, would often kind of go into a little shell and just sort of and start playing with very small bows and things. So if you're playing with smaller bows, you're restricting yourself. That would be like, for example, just trying to talk, but with most of my mouth closed, and that's all I can talk out of. So it's not going to work because, I need my mouth to work fully. I need my mouth to open up as much as it wants to get the words out to you, because obviously my mouth is where the sound is coming out. So if I'm closing that gap there, then obviously I'm not going to be getting much sort of sound coming out. So it's the same sort of thing with the bow, really. So the smaller the bows, the kind of the more inward the sound is, and it's just not open enough. But nice full long open bows already just bring that sound out. You're getting the resonance, you're getting the ringing of the bow. You know, everything is just much fuller, brighter, just more open because you're actually using that bow. So don't be afraid to use bow. I always say it's better to be playing, you know, a load of rubbish with a much full, strong, nice, confident bow to be playing that same rubbish on a, you know, on a tiny, more restricted bow, because not only are you playing rubbish anyway, but the bowing is making it 10 times worse. At least you're playing confident rubbish, if that kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me, but at least what you are playing does have nice, full, confident bows. Then the only thing you need to work on is just getting better at that intonation. So it's a much better way round of doing it, and you're only doing one thing wrong as opposed to two. So, you know, if we have to sort out a bit of intonation up here, you know, but you've got some really nice, beautiful, long, you know, really sonorous bows, then that's great. All we've got to do is just sort out what's going on up here. But if what's going up here is wrong anyway, and you're just sort of doing rubbish little small bows, that's two things you're doing wrong instead of one. So bowing is a bit of a self journey, and I think a lot of people are very kind of, they're very scared of the bowing, but don't be as scared of the bowing. Ironically, it's the one thing you shouldn't be scared of, but obviously the more you bow, the louder it's going to be, and the more obvious everything is going to be. And I think that's why people kind of revert into a shell and they don't want to play with that long bow, because it is so big and loud. But that is the point of this video, isn't it? We're talking about a much bigger, better, brighter tone. So, you know, really and truthfully, this would probably be the number one reason why you're not getting such a good tone on the violin, aside from all those other technical reasons that, you know, I'm going to be speaking about in this video, and the one in the technical reasons in part one. Probably not actually using enough of the bow, you know, is going to cause your tone to suffer greatly. So just be aware of that one. And really the third reason that you might not be getting a good tone might just be the instrument that you're playing on. So the thing about getting, you know, and I've said this before in a lot of videos, but not having the right instrument or a good enough instrument is really going to be detrimental to your playing all round. But if you've tried all those tips and you're doing everything that you can and something about it still doesn't sound right, then why don't you just have a look at the instrument you're playing on? And I would have thought by this point, by the time you're kind of getting to this point, you've actually been playing a good while, so you'll know whether the violin is something that you want to continue with or not. You know, I appreciate that starting out you don't want to spend a lot of money on the violin, you know, and I get that, and that's fine, but that can have a bit of a catch-22, can't it, where the violin isn't that great, you're trying your best, no matter what you do, you just sound like utter rubbish, complete garbage, and it's not you, it's actually that the instrument is holding you back, the instrument is stifling you, but you're not actually, that never registers. But, you know, if that's the case and you're really trying and you're getting to the point where you're working hard and you can feel that you should be making progress but you're not, then why don't you just take a look at the violin, and it might be time, you know, to upgrade to something else. If you do want to upgrade to something, I've reviewed a load of Fiddlerman violins. In fact, I've reviewed quite a lot of violins on this channel over the years I've had this channel. Stentor violins, Cecilio violins, both of those I reviewed many years ago, but the more recent ones I've reviewed are the Fiddlerman violins and the Fiddlerman Holstein violins. I'll put a link to all of those violin reviews underneath. But the Fiddlerman has a lot of violins for all different caters for all different type of budgets and things. This isn't a sales pitch, by the way. This is just me being sent a whole bunch of their violins, reviewing them all, and do you know what? I think they're great, and I'm happy to put my name to that, and I'm happy to tell you guys that, you know, go out and buy a Fiddlerman violin, because you're not going to be disappointed with it. So check out those reviews, and he's got a violin to suit every budget, every sound. The violin reviews that I've done of the Fiddlerman violins are very in-depth as well, with lots and lots of demos. You know, I've just been completely honest with them, so you can hear exactly what they sound like, my opinion on what they sound like, my opinion on who I think it's for, you know, and all that kind of thing. So if you are looking to upgrade, I would recommend one of the Fiddlerman violins, I think, over any of the other violins that I have reviewed on my channel. just because I think everything about the Fiddler Man violins are, I think they're great. He's great. He has a very high attention to detail. Pierre and Michael are just have fantastic customer service as well. So if you tell them I've sent you, they'll look after you as well. So all that will be linked underneath. And yes, this is a sales pitch. This is just me just liking their violins. And as I say, I'm more than happy to put my name to recommending them to you guys, because I know you won't be disappointed. So getting back to it, yeah, if you're getting to the point where you are getting frustrated and you're getting into more of the technical stuff, you've been playing a little while, something is just not happening. You're playing and playing and playing, and you just do not seem to be improving. It is not you. I guarantee it won't be you. If you've already got a really good violin and you're still not improving, then that will be you, because it will be something that you are or are not doing. But if you do have quite a cheap student quality violin, sort of less than $100, I guarantee it's going to be the violin that's going to cause you the most issues. So it might be time to think about upgrading to something, so that you can put all that hard work and effort and practice and all those new techniques into practice on something that isn't going to be holding you back. A lot of people think a violin is a violin. It is absolutely not. You'll know as soon as you get a decent violin, you will know the difference. So anyway, enough of that. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the links of my 1 to 30 violin course, which are all going to be underneath this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.